Uh-oh, everyone. Welcome back to Nails Before Films, where I do nails and talk about movies. Today we're looking at another movie that was produced by Blumhouse, the company that produced Megan. I know that doesn't really narrow things down. After all, Blumhouse has produced so many horror movies. Anyway, I'm doing Happy Death Day and its sequel, Happy Death Day to You today. Happy Death Day isn't just a horror movie. It's also rom-com, sci-fi, drama, mystery, all these genres and more packed into a slasher. It works most of the time, and it's the closest thing I would get to liking a romantic comedy. Anyway, in the first movie, we meet Tree, a college birthday girl. She's your typical mean girl who's a bitch to everyone and sleeps with her married professor. For some reason, Tree gets stuck in the time loop and keeps dying at the hands of a baby-faced masked killer. With the help of Carter, a nice guy whose bed she keeps waking up on, Tree finds out who is trying to kill her and has grown into a better person. She even reconciles with her father, whom she's alienated after her mom's death. At first, Tree thinks it's a serial killer at their campus hospital who's been killing her, but then she realizes it's actually her roommate Lori, who's jealous because they're both having affairs with the same professor. Tree kills Lori, finally ending the cycle. In the next movie, we learn that the time loop is actually created by a machine Carter's roommate Ryan built. Ryan activates the machine when a parallel universe version of him comes to kill him, not only creating a time loop but also sending Tree to a different universe. Tree wakes up again on her birthday, but this time things are different. Tree wants to stay in this universe after finding out that her mom is still alive there. She kills herself a bunch of times to save Ryan and his friends' progress in figuring out how to close the time loop. However, Tree eventually decides that she should go back to her universe and save Lori, who's the baby-faced mass killer's target in this universe. The killer is their professor this time, who kills Lori to keep their affair a secret. Tree kills him and Ryan closes the time loop, sending Tree back to her universe. Now for my thoughts on the movies. I like them. I think it's fun how they combine Groundhog Day with Scream and added a bunch of rom-coms in there. I wouldn't say a time loop story with dying a bunch is original. I've read a couple of mangas with that kind of premise, but I do like the self-improvement journey Tree goes through. Normally, I would never watch a movie about a mean girl learning to be good. I mean, come on. Movies like that are just longer Dharma videos with bigger budgets. But for some reason, combining it with slasher black comedy, I enjoy it a lot. Even if the message is basically just, you shouldn't be a bitch. I really like how Tree learns to be a better person in the first movie, and in the second one, she learns to let go of the past. Especially the parts with her parents, I know they're sappy, but I'm just such a sucker for family love. I didn't cry or anything, but they're just such nice moments, especially in the slasher film. I just think the movie does an amazing job of putting together all these different emotions. It goes from being absolutely wacky and comedic to sad and bittersweet without the audience feeling awkward or shoehorned. It knows when to be serious and when to be funny, something that's rare for movies these days. Most of the comedy in the movie lands. The death montages are absolutely hilarious, even though they aren't that bloody due to the movie's rating. The transition from Tree's death to her sleeping on Carter's bed is really fun. I'm glad they did that for both movies, but didn't overdo it. However, there were a few moments I thought that wasn't funny. Like in the second film, the typical classic home music slow-mo explosion, I roll my eyes at how cliche that was. Also, the Danielle acting to be blind to distract the Dean bit was a bit too over the top. It was fun. I laughed at some parts, but they overdid that one in my opinion. Like, the checkmate line at the end is just unnecessary and unfunny. Next, let's talk about the story. I like the first movie better because it's simple and the reveal at the end makes sense. But I hate how they go into time travel and sci-fi stuff in the next movie because it never ever makes sense. Like, how can there be two Ryans? They literally explain that they can't be two trees when she got transported to another dimension. And why does alternative Ryan believe that killing the original Ryan will close the loop? What's the logic behind that? And why does Tree's death trigger a loop? Does this mean everyone who dies on that day will experience the time loop as well? Why is she the only one who remembers everything? Also, if the killer isn't after Tree in the second movie, she's basically safe if she doesn't go to the hospital, right? What will happen if she doesn't die? Does the day loop regardless? What would happen then? I don't know. The sci-fi explanation is just messed up in my opinion. I know they needed a way to make things different while still maintaining the time loop concept, but I wish they didn't go into the whole time travel multiverse mess because it never makes sense. Like, also, why does Tree only wake up in like two universes? Like, she could be teleported to like another one, right? It just makes no sense in my opinion. I much prefer how in the first movie it's just some cosmic power or supernatural force that's teaching her she needs to be a better person. Time travel really makes my head hurt. Also, I don't like the babyface reveal in the second movie. Gregory being the killer is so predictable. I guess that's why they threw in his wife as well, but it just makes no sense. At no point in the movie were we led to believe that there were actually 3 killers, so I feel like it's just there for shock value, and I would categorize it as a bad twist. Anyway, there are things in the second movie I like too. I like how they made the vagina dude from the last movie to be an actual character. I love Ryan and his 2 science friends, although it's kind of stupid how university students can just build a time-traveling machine. I like how they really try to help Tree, especially when they don't really know her. While it's their fault she's in this mess in the first place, it's still nice of them to acknowledge that and do their best to send her home. While a little stereotypical, the 3 of them are extremely likable in my opinion. Since we're on the topic of characters, Jessica Roth, who plays Tree, is absolutely amazing. The character has a full range of emotions, whether it's happy, sad, angry, scared, frustrated, confused, or bitchy. She nailed them all. She's the reason why the emotional things work and why this movie is such a unique slasher. Oh, and last thing, I didn't understand why Tree chose Danielle as the test subject at the end of the second movie at first. But then I remember, Tree was a bitch too, so she probably thought Danielle could use some looping self-improvement as well. That actually makes a lot of sense. Overall, Happy Death Day and its sequel are good movies. I would recommend people who aren't into horror movies to watch this one. There isn't much blood and the emphasis really is on the comedy. So non-horror fans should be able to enjoy this one as well. A third movie is in development apparently, and I do want to see where they will go next. But please, please, please lay off the sci-fi stuff. As always, like, subscribe, comment, share, do what you want, keep nailing it, and don't be a dumb bitch, people.